Wasn't prepared. Who cares? G'day all and welcome to the CAMS after the Dockers have just gone and beaten Collingwood at the MCG by 1 point. This is why you watch this club. This is why you watch footy. That is just as good of a win as we've ever had. I don't want to start comparing them all the time. That's got to go in 2013 qualifying final areas. Like that feels like a turning point. It felt like a turning point last week, and it now feels like we're putting the turning point into action. That was just eccentric. 22 points down with 15 minutes to go in the fourth. I kicked the first few of the last, and my hope was pretty low, I'll be honest. I sort of just accepted that we might go down by 20, 25, that sort of dockery margin. But we dug in, and I cannot quite believe that we found a way to beat the best team in the comp on the deck that you have to win it all on. So unbelievable. Get in chat. Come have a yarn by joining the fan cams. We're going to get straight into it. Yeah, he's got to come on first. We've been getting him on last the past few weeks, but he's coming on first this week. Hello, mate.
Oh, hell yeah!
How are you?
It's off, guys. It's off. Oh my god! It's
no
off.
lids here.
Holy! Well, I didn't know we were gonna be that bloody good. My god! Oh my god! This is why I love this club. They love getting my heartbeat to a rapid pace and beat one of the best teams ever, Collingwood. We have won. Australia won. Even the Prancy Pony won that game. Well done.
I don't even know. I'm not even sure. Should we speak about players? Like wins like that. It's a bit like last week where it's hard to speak about individuals when so many people just put in a shift. Let's talk about Caleb Sarong. Like the game as a whole, but that last quarter in particular, we've got a leader who Essendon game last year, I massively criticised his leadership, him and Brayshaw out of the middle. We got smashed in the last quarter. They both stepped up, in particular Caleb Sarong, and he played like a captain today. That was unbelievable.
Definitely. I thought it was going to be Brayshaw, it was going to be the captain, but Caleb Sarong definitely stepped that up. Well, how many disposals did he get? What was it, 37? Holy moly, guys. This is like, you haven't seen that for a while, guys. Okay, because he usually gets tagged, but in Collingwood games, you never get tagged in one of those. So well done to Sarong. Well done to Clark. Ryan, you did pretty good. Hayden Young, hell yeah. Welcome back, mate. Welcome back.
The real big three's back, mate. They're all back.
I'm so I thought we were gonna lose that game, to be honest. Because mate, I'm just like, I was standing on my feet watching that game. Okay? Were you standing as well, mate?
When we kicked the goal, I got off my ass, yeah.
Oh my god. Well, good job to Luke Jackson. Good job to Shea Bolton. I know he didn't kick the goal, but a behind is a behind. Doesn't matter. We got a point. We got 4 points on the ladder. That's what we like. Oh my god.
All right.
You know how it feels, mate.
We've got a big waiting room. Do you want to say anything else before I let you go?
Well, other than that, I'm gonna miss Johnson. I know he had that foot injury, but honestly, it feels great seeing Hayden Young coming back, and I hope that we're gonna have a good percentage boost against the Eagles next week. Okay,
let's not get arrogant. This is the hallmarks of a dockery 2 weeks.
Okay.
If we beat Collingwood and somehow fuck up to West Coast next week, that would just be an all-time dockery little patch. Because we've done it before.
Okay, let's not get a percentage boost.
Let's not do that. All right, thanks for joining us.
All right, have a good night, mate. Bye, everybody.
See you, mate. Oh, good energy to kickstart the fan cams. I feel like most of this will be a percentage boost games. We never end up that way. Our biggest percentage boost this season was Richmond. Everyone gets one against Richmond, except Carlton, and then the Giants. So they're always the unexpected ones in which we win big. Lost my voice. Bloody good feeling. Let's beat West Coast and the Blues and push for top 4. Exactly right. No limit on this season now. We have not seen that sort of ticker for back-to-back weeks in a long time from this group, if ever, under JL. Unbelievable. Like, even 2022, we are not winning that game whatsoever. I mean, semi-final, we went to the MCG and we basically just got outplayed all day. I want to give a shout-out to the back line as well. I think as a unit, they are held up brilliantly. Like, the amount of inside 50s we conceded, geez, the team defense was brilliant. I think a few individual performers sort of got under my skin a bit, but as a unit, absolutely brilliant. Let's get to Jordan now. Hello, mate.
Hello. I might start off that way as well. Take the lid off. There you go. Might have to get everyone will have to do that now, but
yeah, I think so. That's a requirement.
Oh my days! How about that one? Eh?
Wasn't bad, was it?
That's all I'd say about that one.
It's hard to even put into words a game like that because it is just it's just so eccentric. It's not like, a 20-point win against Essendon where, you can analytically break down the game, what we could have done better. Who cares? Because we've just beaten the best team in the comp on the MCG in front of 70K.
Yeah. And it's easily the biggest win of the season. Let me all around that one. But yeah, I think it just shows as well, like, you don't have to win every game the same way, because we spoke last week, are we going to play the same sort of game style? I don't think we did. I think we kind of adapted to their style a bit, because they, the inside 50 counts, they demolished us there, which wasn't ideal. But, we knew how to lock them down, and we knew how to capitalise. We had 20 less inside 50s and we had the same amount of scoring shots or more. I'm not sure where it was in the end. It was 11, 12, 12, 7. 12, so they had a couple more. But, yeah, we capitalised. We were straight in front of goal most of the time. And, that's how you got to win games. You win them whatever way you can. And we've won it. We've won games in different ways this year. But I think it was actually quite similar to the game against the Pies earlier this year at home. Like, I think similar. I think we actually had most of the clearances, but in that game, most of the, our midfield was on top, but we put too many numbers around the ball, I think. And I think we sort of did that today, but it was defense where we put the numbers around the ball. But as I said, we were able to just lock it down any time they came inside 50, and that was a real difference. So what a game.
What a game. How we set up behind the ball was so impressive. Like, whenever, whether it was Josh or Nick coming off halfback, we always equalised when they tried to bring one of those guys up to the stoppage. And even when Nick got the ball, he had the ball 43 times. Like, he had a really good game. But none of his disposals were really incredibly damaging. And if we can force Nick Dacos to have a game like that, who cares if he has 43 touches? Because we limited his main asset. Like, he was one of their best players. Don't get me wrong. But we limited his main asset, which is his kicking inside 50 and his kicking forward with the ball. And I think we set up for that so well, and we just killed so many of their good ball users.
I feel like half those 43 touches was just when a Pies players got the mark, and then Dacos just runs beside him and says, "Give me the handball." They were pretty cheap, a lot of those touches. Not to take away from the fact that he'll get the 3 Brownlow votes probably for that game.
Caleb has to. I'm sorry. Caleb Sarong absolutely has to.
Yeah. It'd be between... You'd like to think because we won that he'd get the 3. If the Pies won, obviously Dacos would get the 3, but I don't know. We saw how they chose the Brownlow last year, that the umps have got a player in mind, and then they'll just give them 3 wherever they put a good performance in. But no, we'll see how that one goes. But yeah, as I see, we limited Dacos. We limited, Elliott. I thought was he didn't have that much, because that was my main worry. With Hill out, Elliott was their main go-to. We didn't have Walker in there. Would have Walker done a good job on Elliott? I'm not quite sure how that would have gone if it did end up that way. But yeah, I think I'm not sure how Elliott what his stats were in the end. He had 2 and 2. So I think he kicked 6 on us last time. So that was an important one to shut down. One player I want to give a mention to as well is Youngie. I think that was, I thought he should have come on earlier, but I think Jao probably got the right time, judged the right time to get that one on, because he was, particularly obviously I think even late in the third, when we were in that whole third quarter when we were struggling to even get into our front half. I think Youngie came on, and I think we instantly scored that goal straight away when we went forward and Voss just beat Quaynor in a 1-on-1. Massive impact from Youngie, and we played well the last few weeks, last 7 or 8 weeks anyway, and now we've got Hayden Young in our team as well. So it's very exciting.
It is ridiculous. Matt Johnson looks like he's going to be gone for the season. I could barely bring myself to watch the replay more than once. It was a pretty horrific ankle injury. I'm not going to ask, do you think we'll miss him, but do you think we can fill the void? Because obviously Hayden Young's back. Are we going to go with an extra forward, extra mid? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think we can. I think there's players there that'll do the job. Of course, Erasmus is playing at Peel at the moment. I think if Fife comes back, he might play that role as well. I think it's a void to fill. I'd still rather have Johnson in there than probably either of those two. But it does suck because he's played. He hasn't been he hasn't been a star, but he's been an instrumental part of our team the last 10 weeks. And I'll touch wood when we do make the finals, that he won't be able to be there. So that kind of does suck. But I think it's a void that we can pretty easily fill. With Young back in, he definitely will obviously be in the starting 22 or probably starting 18. But I think if you're looking from a sub point of view, then you obviously Dudley didn't make the side today, didn't make the 23 today. Walker didn't, and Erasmus as well. So yeah, there's plenty of ways that we can shuffle it around, and I think plenty of ways that we could fill that board. Anything
else before I let you go?
Anything else for us? No, that's probably about it. But Haggood's footy, that'll do.
Haggood's footy, lids off. Footy. We're winning a lot. Thanks, mate. Have a good one.
All
right. Johnson straight swap for Youngie, big shame, but it can be covered. Yeah, it's probably good timing. The Hayden Young return coinciding with Matt Johnson going out. I agree with what Jordan just said, though. I think we'll probably get Fife to come in when he's back. He's only a week or so away, and play the sub role, and Youngie will obviously be in the 22. Last quarter Kings, get up and about. Noah, your voice is done, mate. My last 48 hours have been a bit cooked, but that game really shot it to pieces. So I'm battling through these fan camps. Collingwood are against us. The umpires are against us. The supporters are against. I'm going to run through a brick wall. That wall is not safe. Jeez. I had a feeling and I was right. That matters too. Some Collingwood numpty said something to me in a reply on a True Footy vid, and it got my back up. To hell with him. Hell yeah, fellas. Who is watching True Footy videos? He'll be on the channel next week. All right, Patrick, you're up next.
Yo, what's good?
Hi, mate.
Fuck yeah.
Lid?
Lid's gone. Lid's gone.
Good.
What a game. What a game. Yeah, pretty pumped. Pretty pumped with that. You go down, you concede two goals within 3 minutes. Last quarter sort of looked like we lost it. I was a bit flat with some of the efforts, but far out, that was a good win. Good win. And you said it perfectly. It's one where you can't go into analytical stuff because it's just, you're so emotional and everything.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it helps in a game like that where, it's a pressure cooker at the MCG, 70K, and the bloke that stood up was Pat Voss. To have a bloke like Pat Voss 6 goals, obviously the whole team is just going to go off their heads and, play like their lives depend on it. And it was a beautiful watch.
Such a good name. I love him. He's genuinely one of my favorite. He's so good. So good. And they were rattled with him. They had about 3 different matchups. Darcy Moore, he owned Darcy Moore. Brandon Maynard was ineffective. I thought I got to give praise to the forward line structure because JT goes up high and takes a fair few clunks up the ground, and then at the end goes back and saves the game, while Pat Voss is able to go down deep with Jai Amos, and they combined for 8 goals. So, you take that any day of the week. Maybe JT doesn't hit the scoreboard, but you take 8 goals between Voss and Amos.
The structure was elite today. Like, obviously, Vossi was the main bloke who got all the goals, but Josh Tracy, like, maybe flogging the ball, should have taken that mark late and whatnot. But when he's around the ball, at ground level, he is so clean, and his pressure, front of center, like, Tracy is so important even without hitting the scoreboard. And I even think Jai Amos competed well, kicked his 2 goals. It was a game where I think all 3 players in that tall forward setup, really played their role to perfection.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's definitely the standouts. I think it's team performance. Probably a bit of a rogue one, but I really like Luke Ryan. For someone who I think doesn't get much praise, he did a good enough. Obviously Jamie Elliott kicks a couple, I think, I don't know. But, he did well, all things considered. He's not the quickest guy. It's a very fast forward line. But his efforts, and it was the same on Watson last week, his effort is so good. I rate him so high, especially when you had Carl Warner. I love him, but unfortunately he had a bit of a how you going game. He gives away a couple frees, missed a few. He really held up. The back line, as you said before, but the back line was unreal. It was just in there so much, and they held up unreal.
Yeah. Yeah, our backline's such a hard one. I think Luke Ryan was probably our second best backman behind Brennan Cox. But to hold it, Jamie Elliott is a bloke that broke the game open last time earlier this year, kicked 6 goals. Can't remember who was on him. It might have been Luke Ryan, but whoever it was, Ryan's just gone to work on him. He's probably just been watching his tape all week, and he kicks 2 goals that very well could have been 6 or 7. And
Right.
my
bad.
Could have been 5 or 6, and mate, you've put me off. That's so poor. Yeah, Ryan had a good game. Carl Warner, bit average. Oscar McDonald, bit average. But I think the team D as a whole held up really, really well. Oscar McDonald's an interesting one. I want to speak about him because I've heard some very I've heard both ends of the spectrum with Omac today. I've heard he was horrific, and I've heard, he played his role really well. What did you make of him?
I think he struggled. His field kicking's probably what let him down at times. That's probably where a bit of the criticism comes from. I was a little critical when he missed, a little 45 into the corridor to maybe set up a inside 50. That's a bit of a hard one, but I thought his actual, his defensive role and spoiling was okay. I thought it was okay. He let my check out a few times. That was a bit disappointing. I suppose that's sort of where it comes from. But all in all, I don't think he was I don't think he was too bad. I thought he did enough where it could crash a pack, and he wasn't letting a free one out the back every time. I think I didn't rate his game, but I wouldn't say it was the worst game I've seen him or any defender play.
Yeah, it's tough. That third fullback role, behind Pearce and Cox, it's always tough to sort of have a player on the list that can fill the void to perfection anytime your star fullback's out. So it's a hard role to fill. Draper hasn't really been feeling it. Omac hasn't really been at his best, but as a whole, the team D was good yet again, and we got the dub, which was the main thing. Anything else before I let you go?
Just a huge win, genuinely one of the biggest wins we had. I thought we deserved it so much more. The umpiring was pretty shit in the first half. I don't care about the second half. It was appalling. I thought we deserved that. I think that's about it. It just feels so good to beat Collingwood. Oh my God.
Yeah, unreal. I'm still a bit what's the word? Eccentric? No, electric. I'm not sure what the word is, but I'm over the moon. Okay. It was unreal. Thanks for joining again, mate. And
love you.
Have a good one. Love you too. Bye. Always good to have Murphy Reed on the fan cams whenever he joins after the games. He always gets to his car pretty quickly. Voss is Darcy Moore's owner, correct. That was impressive for the Dockers from a Bombers fan. Thank you, mate. Now, we've actually got an Oscar McDonald super fan in the waiting room, so we'll get him in. Hello, mate.
Hey, mate. How you going?
Oh, I'm very good. How are you?
Oh, yeah, not too bad. I hang a bit of shit on him, but when you win, it doesn't matter, does it? No, he's all right. He's all right.
What do you make of that?
Oh, mate, I ran around the house screaming. I could barely breathe. I can't believe it. You know, can't get too ahead of ourselves. We're obviously the best team in the comp. We're going to win the grand final. We just shit all over Collingwood, but we just can't get too ahead of ourselves. You know what I mean?
Exactly right. Yeah. The thing is, you just have to get ahead of yourself, because what's the point of being a footy fan if you have a win like this and you don't get ahead of yourself? Like, there could be opposition fans in the fan cam chat right now thinking, what on earth are these blokes on about? But realistically, I don't see a world in which we're not playing on grand final day. I don't see a world in which we don't win the lot. And we are the best team in the modern era.
Yeah, and I can't think of the last time it come to the end of the season and we dropped the ball, to be honest. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly right.
But yeah. But nah, good win. And I can't remember a time where I've had so much faith in us in last quarters. Like this week, last week, if we're down by 3 or 4 goals, it just doesn't seem to be as much of an issue as it used to be. We used to just lose those games every single week or every single time it happened. Whereas now it seems like we've got a little bit of belief. And yeah, the guys are just pulling that out of their ass, aren't they? Like, far out. I still can't believe it.
It's nearly our specialty now, coming back from being down at 3/4 time. Like, before this season, the last time we did it was round 5, 2023 from memory. It was a while ago. And now we did it against St Kilda. We nearly did it against Sydney. We did it against Hawthorn, and we've just done it against Collingwood. I mean, we're doing it against some pretty bloody good teams. There's just a lot of belief in the group at the moment, and it's so evident.
And I mean, we had that 1 point win over Sydney, was it last year, when they were clearly on the best team in the comp. 1 point win over Sydney and now we've got a 1 point win over Collingwood at the MCG, where, to be honest, you know, the crowd was black and white, the umpires were black and white, and the grass was black and white. It was just unbelievable. I couldn't believe the amount of
I've genuinely seen some Collingwood fans like ripping into the umpires and blaming that for their loss in the last quarter. I am baffled, because in the last quarter, first 3 quarters, they were obviously really poor. But the last quarter, Murphy Reid got pushed into the bench by Maynard, no free kick. Luke Jackson got told to play on for no particular reason. Stayed on his line, got told to play on. Lucky they missed the shot. But there are a few moments which Collingwood could have taken, coming off the back of some really poor umpiring. Like, they did everything in their power to try and get the Pies over the line, and it just didn't work. Yeah,
100%. And it seems like sending Josh Tracy to full back for the last 30 seconds of the game really is starting to pay off. I mean, how many times has he taken a game-saving mark in the dying seconds now?
Feels like it's a weekly thing. It must be him. I think he was speaking a few weeks ago how, like, the forward group are so in the moment. Whenever there's a close game situation, everyone knows where they need to be. They know they need to get an extra couple numbers behind the ball. It's just the communication and the leadership is growing by the week. And I think Josh Tracy is probably the spearhead of that forward line in terms of the leadership. And he's showing it week after week. He's gone down back a couple of times, as he just said, and taken a huge mark to save the game for us. He's such a good asset. Like, didn't kick a goal, but we don't win that game without him.
Yeah, I mean, some of his best performances this year have come from games where he hasn't kicked a goal. He just provides such a good option, such a good marking option. Even when he's not marking the ball, it's coming to ground for the smalls to pick up on. And like you were saying in the chat in the game, once him and Voss create that, like, I mean, they've already started doing it, but when they really hit their stride, they're going to become such a powerful duo. And as soon as Amos, you know, sorts his shit out, once he gets into a bit of form, it's going to be an amazing trio. I really think, I think he's got what it takes. It's just, I don't know what it is with him at the moment. He's having a bit of a form slump. He played pretty well today, but if we can get him back to how he was playing 2-3 years ago, the three of them are just going to take us so much further than we have been in previous years.
I'm going to be honest, I love Jai's game today. I think he played his role to perfection. Like, it's not his job to get heaps of the ball or whatnot. At one stage, he had 2 disposals, 1 goal, and I still feel like he had a good game up to that point. I just feel like whenever he needed to make an impact on a contest, he did. Pat Voss, he was making the leads of the ball and we were hitting him on the chest. Shai Amos was playing decoy, dragging defenders away and whatnot. Josh Tracy, anywhere, just making an impact, sometimes around the ball, sometimes forward to center. I think all 3 of them worked together so well today. That's the best game I've seen all 3 of them play in a few weeks. Like, it was a really, really good watch.
Yeah, especially when it gets late in the game and we're really under the pump. Our forwards seem to just be finding a way, which they never used to be able to do. Michael Walters used to do it brilliantly. He was always, a bit of a game saver. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing for me, that our biggest progression this year in the last sort of month or 2 months has been late in games when it really matters. We're getting it done, and just hopefully we can keep that rolling through until September, and keep our spot in the finals. If we lose to West Coast next week, sack the team, sack JL, sack everyone. 2027 flag mantle, but
I can't even consider like the prospect of losing to West Coast next week, because we've got Carlton the week after. Like, our next 2 games are terrifying, way scarier than today. Collingwood today was a free hit, and we happen to win. Next 2 weeks are just, I will be going into Optus Stadium with my heart pumping out of my chest. Like, it will be a scary, scary proposition, because those 2 clubs, for some reason, just love to ruin our season.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm interested to see where the ladder sort of ends up coming into that last game against Western Bulldogs, because they're obviously vying for that 8th spot, and we're one of the few teams that could, have the potential to drop out. So, who knows where it leads coming into that final week of the season. But if we can keep playing the way we did today, then nothing's going to stop us.
Exactly. Well, that's obviously our hardest game for the rest of the home and away season, and we've completed it in really, really good fashion. So run home now. Carlton West Coast, you'd hope we win. Port Adelaide away, we've never beaten them at the Adelaide Oval, but I'm expecting a win. We just absolutely have to win that. Brisbane at home is another doozy. I think we'll go in as favourites considering it's at home, but geez, it's a tough one. Top 4 might be on the line by then. And the Bulldogs away is another tough one, but they don't fare very well against top 8 teams, and their season's going to be on the line. So the rest of the season, it's not like we've just got a bunch of irrelevant games to end the season. We're going to cruise into finals. Massive scalp today, but now we push further, and we can hopefully pinch not just a top 8 spot, but a top 4 spot.
Yeah, that would be the dream. That would be unbelievable. But yeah, just such a well played game from the whole team today. Like, the team aspect of it was the most impressive thing. There was, obviously Sarong with 37 and a goal. Jacko's last quarter was pretty impressive. There were a few standouts, but just the way the team's been melding, mixing together, it's just been unbelievable. I don't know if was Wagner running a tag on Dacos the whole game, because Dacos got away a little bit there at the end. I think 43 and a goal, but
tagging both Dacoses. Whoever went to the middle. Dacos got most of his touches off halfback, so that wasn't really Wagner's fault. But I think from the centre bounce, a lot of the time Dacos just ended up breaking through the tag and going wherever Sarong went, and Sarong was always in the right position. So it was just a battle. It was either Sarong tackles Dacos or Dacos tackles Sarong a lot of the time. So I'm not sure how hard the tag was, but it was definitely a bit of a run with.
Yeah, I think he's become such an important part of the team, especially if in mid-game we really need to lock someone down that's run away with it. Obviously, he started the tag from the first bounce, I think it was today, or close to. But yeah, he just gives us so much flexibility. He's obviously played back before. He's shown that he can link up forward when he needs to. He's a pretty good kick. And yeah, when he plays in the midfield, he does really well. Some games he doesn't hit the stat sheet as much, but I think he's been a really important core of our team now. And yeah, losing Johnson, I was a bit of I used to hang some crap on Johnson at the start of the season, but pretty quickly came around to him. I think his best attribute is being able to get the possession, and then if we're in a tight situation, he just takes a tackle really good. He takes that pressure and causes a ball up. I think he's really, really important, but we'll see how long he's out for. Obviously, Youngie's going to be coming back into the side, but he plays a lot of on ball. I don't really see him playing out on the wing where Johnson plays a lot of his footy. So what are your thoughts on that? What do you think happens?
My gut feeling is Erasmus is the most similar sort of profile to Johnson. Johnson's obviously the bigger body, but like you just said, the versatility of him being able to play on half forward, wing, midfield. I think Raz will probably be the bloke that comes in. Might be Dudley, might be Sharp. It might actually be Sharp because Young's back in the team, and we can maybe just give some more midfield time to Wags and whatnot. But Yeah, I think it'll be Raz or Sharp. That's my instinct.
I mean, we got players all. We'll take any of them, really. I mean, I'd love to have Johnson in the side, but it's not like we lack depth at the moment. We've got a pretty healthy list, so it'd be really interesting. I'd like to see Brandon Walker come back into the side, but when you win 8 out of your last 9 games or whatever it's been, then massive change isn't really needed. So I wonder if Warner starts again next week. I don't know why he was subbed out. Was he injured or did he just?
Nah, tactical. It wasn't his best game. He was giving away a few free kicks. But yeah, Carl's been so good this season. Had a few blunders today, but yeah, he'll be back next week.
Yep. And hopefully Pierce comes back for OMAC.
How long off was Pierce? I'll have a look at that after this. Thanks for joining yet again, Alex. Much appreciated your input as always, and up the Dockers.
Yeah, no worries. I'll see you later.
See you, mate. I will take a look at how far away Alex Pierce is, because it would be nice to get him back for the Derby. 1 to 2 weeks. Okay, so he'll be a test this week. Probably will come back against Carlton. Bit of a shame. Cooper Simpson will be a test, which is good, but he'll definitely come back through the waffle. And then Fifey will be a test as well. So maybe Fifey comes back in. Who knows? I think we will inject him straight back into the AFL team. Luke Jackson showing his class again when it mattered. Yeah, just a big game player is Dogger. Walker comes in, wags midfield. Yeah, could be the case, actually. Yep. Game of the round. This game did not disappoint. It was worth all the hype. What a game. And enjoy the footy shows this week. On the couch, AFL 360, whatever shit's on Channel 7. Just enjoy it, because we're going to get the most positive coverage ever, and it's going to be beautiful. Once in a lifetime. Next up, I'm going to get Marek in. You ready? He's ready. G'day, mate.
Hey Noah, how's it going, mate? It's good to finally chat. Long time listener, first time caller.
Good to see you, mate. Thanks for calling in. You enjoy that?
Yeah, absolutely. I had a sneaky feeling we were gonna. Oh God, it's bad juju going on with the sort of we're gonna win this game, but I thought we were a chance. I sort of looked at it as a kind of simulation into the finals, into a grand final potentially. And I hope that that's what JL instilled into the team, is that, we're playing at the home of AFL. We're playing the best team, obviously, and this is the way that we got to configure ourselves. So, firstly, I thought that was the way to go in. What do you make of that? Just that idea.
I'd
I mean,
agree.
it's conjecture, really. I mean, you never know what's going on in the four walls, but so it's all conjecture. But yeah, that's just what I had in mind.
I'd
Yeah, what
agree.
do you
I think
reckon?
last week was a real trademark game against Hawthorn. Obviously, 103 tackles, whatnot, broke all sorts of records. And I think that really instilled in the players what it takes to beat really good opposition. And Hawthorn at home is a big step down from Collingwood away. Despite it still being a tough game, Collingwood away was going to take that trademark as well as a hell of a lot of discipline. And I think we showed that discipline today. Like, we gave away a couple 50s, gave away a couple free kicks, but our head never steered away from the game. Like, I think more times than not, we did the right thing with the football in terms of our positioning. I think it was just a really intelligent game. Tracy goes behind the ball late. Jackson went forward to center in the last 5 minutes because he was hitting some form around that area of the ground. I think not only were the players really intelligent, but I think it was a really well-coached game and a really well-coached last quarter. Because I'll be honest, I had very little hope when they went up by 22. And it felt like they just had all the momentum. And, it's Collingwood at the MCG. You don't have a lot of, feeling that you're actually going to pull through against a team that's so good in these situations. So I'd agree with you. I think that was the most finals-like game we've had since the semi-final a few years ago against Collingwood. And I feel like now that we've actually won on that stage, and now we know what it takes to win on that stage, the belief it instills, not just in the four walls, but in the fans, huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that is such a key point, is that the belief that the players will have, having won that game, and knowing what it takes to get there. And it might just be steering the course, like JL may have been sort of saying, just do what we're doing and it'll pay off. It'll pay dividends. And, that may have given the players that, like you say, the belief. Definitely key point. Now, I think, like, as far as the sort of supporters, I guess, that are against JL, I think that JL has this sort of really long-term kind of thing, and I base that on a bunch of things. But what I'm seeing, and for example, like you might see this, you sort of touched on it with Amos, is that he was the key. He was looking like our spearhead, in his effectively first season. But then what happened was that he got the yips for whatever reason. It may have been the concussion, whatever. But what ended up happening, which I think is what JL may have done, is that he would have, and he's done this with a few players I've noticed, that he's configured them in different positions to build like secondary roles almost, And I think that's what's happened with Amos, is like he's not that spearhead. He's gone sort of more of a Chris Mayne kind of, a bit of ground ball defense, kind of forward defense sort of thing. Which is great. Like he's not, and like having said that, I mean, like, we've got to talk about Voss, obviously, and he had blood in his eye from the get-go. Like from that first goal, you just saw in him, not that he was going to kick a bag, but he just had that intensity in him. And I just sort of thought, okay, he's on the big stage here. He's at the MCG. He's got a lot to prove. And I think he's one of those players that he's got a lot to prove, and he'll be great on the big stage. And he definitely did that today. No, I wanted to know what your thoughts are on Tracy not being so much in the forward line, but sort of getting in the wing, sort of outer mid. What do you reckon about that?
I noticed that as well. First of all, I just want to say I'm a big fan of that comparison with Chris Mayne. I see so much Chris Mayne in Jai Amos in terms of the role he plays. A very selfless role, and he doesn't need to get a lot of the ball to make that forward line click. So I think Jai's playing a very important role at the moment. I think the fan base is starting to come around to it. Josh Tracy, I'm a big fan of how he was used today. It was certainly a coaching thing. Like, I think the coaches deserve so much plaudits for this win. Just getting Tracy around the ball, it was a weird role because it's not like he was chopping out in the ruck. We're obviously not playing him as a rover, but he had the instruction. It's not even like he was a high half forward, but he had the instruction to push as far up as he wants because of how clean he is at ground level and his IQ with the football in hand, and even just his physicality to make way for others. I think having Tracy around the ball is really important, and it's going to be a key to winning these big games for the rest of the year, and I think it showed today.
Do you see him as a kind of, like I mentioned with Amos, kind of almost being trained into a secondary role? I kind of see that with Tracy, that he's not the spearhead forward. Voss has taken that now, but like Tracy is almost becoming like this secondary, like almost a Pavlich kind of. I hate to say it, but like a midfield / forward. He's getting back there. Like it's almost like, and mate, no, I gotta say, like there's all this talk about, okay, when Alex Pearce retires, it's gonna be Sarong or it's gonna be Brayshaw. I'm saying it's gonna be Tracy. He's got that in him. Like I just see leadership with him, but at the same time, like a very selfless kind of thing. Like he encourages, like a player gets tackled, he's the first one to pull the guy off the floor, and like his encouragement. I see him as the next captain, mate. I really do. I think he's different than Pavlich, but he's got that versatility in him that I can see him going all around the ground.
I think he's really well built into his role at the club, because when he came, I think he publicly stated he's a bit of an introvert and he struggled to be vocal with the other forwards. And he was obviously a young forward when he came in, but as he's grown and as our forward line's going younger and he's had to be more vocal and more of a veteran sort of leader down there, he's grown into it fantastically. And I definitely see captaincy traits in him. My only thing is I see Caleb Strong's game today and I think that is leading from the front. Like, that is just a captain's performance personified. But I have heard a few like sort of whispers around the fan base of how good a captain Josh Tracy would be. And I absolutely see it in him. I think his leadership traits are glaring.
No, what did you think? It was very early on in the game, and I had you on. I prefer your commentary than the Fox Footy team there.
Thanks, mate.
So yeah, always in there with the match party. But I did overhear very early on in the game that they mentioned that we've got maybe 11 out of 22 or 10 out of 22 Victorian players, and it almost felt like, we're never on the big stage though. We're at the MCG playing Collingwood. And it just kind of felt like, here's the smorgasbord of Victorian players that you guys can get back. Here they are. We've got Reed, all the Victorian-based players. So it kind of, just put that Victorian-centric thing that, what do you reckon? Did they kind of hint at that these players are there to poach, or what's going on?
I'm not sure what it was. I think we've put a lot of trust into building a good culture at the club. Obviously, we've had, Adam Chera go back home and, Blake Acres went back home. Well, Blake Acres from WA, but he, Victoria is sort of his adopted home. And Rory Lobb went back. We've had these guys that have left, but I think we've trusted our drafting. There are a couple years where we were going for WA talent and whatnot. But, we drafted Sarong in 2020, drafted Brayshaw in 2018, and we've gone back to the Victorian strategy. We got Murphy Reed in the last draft, and I think we've just trusted ourselves to build a really good culture internally where the Victorians, and not just them, but sort of the interstate lot, really band together. And we played as a unit today, and it was on the big stage, and it was in Melbourne. I reckon they know, like, we're an outsider club. We're not Collingwood. We're not Richmond. We're not one of these huge clubs that's always in the spotlight. But we were on the big stage today, and I reckon these Victorian blokes know what it's like to sort of support a club being on the big stage and what it's like to be around a club on the big stage, and they wanted to put us on the big stage. I think massive testament to those players that knew they had to step up.
Yeah, that's a good point about the Victorian players banding together, like the city blokes. Because you have Tracy there, and like I'll put him akin to like Mundy, for example. He was a rural Victorian bloke, and I think if he's coming out of sort of rural Victoria, which Tracy is as well, he's not coming from Melbourne, so. So Perth might be a place where he might want to stay. So, but yeah, the Victorian blokes banding together. That's a good point. But mate, just to close it off, I know surely you have other people to go to. This is what a Fremantle supporter is all about. Is just these getting flogged by getting. The West Coast, the Carlton, whatever, but then having these scalps and it's just these wins that you live for as a Dockers supporter, isn't it? So
it is. We get one of these sort of every year, and this is the one. We had Sydney last year at the SCG. The 2 years before that, we had Geelong in Geelong. We had Melbourne at the G. We always manage to get one of these sort of a year, no matter where we are on the table. And this one sort of feels like the most significant out of all of them, given like the stage of the season we're at, and how well we're building. This one feels really significant. So Yeah, a very good point. I will let you go now. Do you have anything else to say before I do?
Yeah, look, I think us Dockers supporters, stop looking at the ladder. Stop looking at the ladder, because I'm firmly look at this. Earlier in the year, I was like, all right, something's got to go with JL, but I was a firm believer that he's got a long-term strategy to build players into and building a culture, that sort of thing. But don't look at the ladder, and don't look at what the other teams are doing. It really is one game at a time. Like, we've got, we've won against Collingwood, and our destiny's in our own hands now. So,
Yep.
there's a lot of games there to be won, and yeah, it's ours for the taking.
Absolutely, mate. Loved having you on. Thanks for calling in. Welcome back anytime, and up the Dockers.
Up the Dockers, Noah. Love your work.
Thanks, mate. Cheers. That was a good yarn. I'm Samming my Switkowski again. Brayshaw and Reed are like the only two Melbourne players of our Vic boys. Rest of all regionals. There you go. Paddy Voss was 6. Always knew he had that sort of game in him. A statement with for sure. I reckon we all did. I reckon we all knew Paddy would explode at some point. And God, imagine if he's now hitting form at the right time of year. I don't want to, again, brick walls might not be safe, but the stars are aligning. Warner was subbed in the third. I think JT kind of played to the conditions today, realized he wasn't going to dominate early. Yeah. It was a really selfless game from JT. Not sure I can fan cam today, as I'm still speechless. What a win. Yeah, if you've got 0 words to say, then wouldn't recommend jumping on the fan cams. All right, Tanu, you're up next. You ready? He's chucked the finger up, so I will give him that 1 second. Collingwood fans need to learn how to lose a close game. Yeah, they're all filthy. I'll wait for the thumbs up to get him on. There we go. Hello, mate.
Heyo. I think we can let out the F word now. It's a flag mantle time.
Oh, jeez. I was really, really limiting myself. We haven't heard it yet, but...
I mean, when else? When else is it meant to be? Hawthorn, I was holding my tongue and didn't want to get ahead of myself, but like, Collingwood by a point, it's their game. It's their thing that they do. You beat the best at the best thing.
It might be flag mantle time, yeah. I haven't said that word on the channel all year. Maybe once in preseason as a bit of a piss take, but I have not said that once all year. But I reckon you might be right. This might be the game where we start whipping it out weekly.
I think it's time. Noel. Like, we're there. Oh God, I'd love to watch. Like, I don't know. I'm sure Collingwood has like an equivalent kind of fan page of this. But I remember this fan page, like when Cooper Sharman like kicked 5 on us. Yeah. I imagine like the Collingwood fan page is going, how the fuck did Patrick Voss kick 6 goals on Darcy or Hayden Maynard?
I'll tell you what, Essendon could really do with a bloke like Pat Voss right now.
Oh, it'd be perfect. So could Melbourne. Melbourne could use with Jackson.
They could, yeah. Well, that's a bit of a different one. He asked to go, but gee,
yeah.
Pat Voss, best and fairest at the Essendon VFL. Essendon leading goal kicker for 1 or 2 years. They delist him. I am baffled. Like, I think even in the first 5 or so games he played for us, Paddy Voss last year, wasn't kicking straight. He had his woes, but we all saw a player there. We all saw the base for a spearhead, a big, strong forward that attacks the footy. And when he sorted out his kicking, he'd be good as gold. And I reckon he has.
Yeah, he's so good. Like, I mean, didn't he kick like 1 point? I think his first one was a point, and then he kicked 6 straight.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Like, considering Jai's 2-2, and I was pretty happy with that.
Yeah, very good. Paddy's really sort of sorted out his kicking. It was the biggest woe of his game, and he's come out in colours. It was an unbelievable display. The midfield, I want to speak about that because what a bagel it was. Like, Collingwood's midfield did not have a bad game by any means. Like McCreary went in there, had 15 tackles.
Yeah.
Ned Long
He
had 12
smashed it.
tackles. Whenever Dacos went in there, he was very good. Even if he played on halfback for a lot of the game, he had 43 and a goal. Ridiculous. Darcy Cameron for most of the day beat Darcy around the ground. Josh Dacos had an impact when he went in there. Jack Crisp, Scott Pendlebury. They did not have a bad midfield at Collingwood. We beat a really, really good midfield with our own players, without tag, or we sort of tag. It was more of a run with by Wagner. I'm not sure how hard it was. I think we just beat them head to head, fair and square.
I think so, but part of me, I was seeing like Nick Dacos by himself just all the time, and I was going, "What the hell are you thinking? Like, why is no one on him?" Like, I get that we won, and I'm happy with that, but it's kind of like Hawthorn last week. You heard all the commentators and everything going, "Why the hell weren't you tagging Sarong?" I was kind of there going, "There's Nick Dacos free by himself. There's Nick Dacos free by himself." Like, just watching the whole time, going, if I'm a coach, I'm just going, "Where's Wagner?" the whole time. A little bit. I know he won, but like he was given way too much freedom. I mean, his stats this game are just bonkers through the roof. Caleb's are as well, but you keep your best and you keep their best down. And, I think maybe if we managed to pull Dacos back a bit more, we might have been able to, probably would have been a bigger win, I guess. I'm going to floor that tactic there. I'm not happy with the let Dacos free and go and run on. I think it's a bit risky. Winning by a point is good, but I mean, Myercheck kicks that goal at the end instead of a point. We're talking about how Dacos was allowed to go and do whatever he wanted.
Didn't think he was overly damaging. That's the only thing. Like, he had a lot of the ball, but I think we limited his damage. And where he got the ball weren't necessarily in places where, he was going to deliver a bullet inside 50 or whatnot. So he had a lot of the ball, but I also think, testament to Darcy Cameron, his ruck work was fantastic and chucking it straight down the throat of Nick Dacos. And he's just a bloody good player as well. Like, we had a few guys on him, but he's very, very hard to stop. And I reckon we removed the tag in the second half and we're like, what is the point? Like, our mids are doing as well as they can at the moment. Caleb Sarong was stepping up from quarter one to quarter four. So our own guns were having a game. I reckon we just sort of said, you know what, let Nick get the ball because we're backing our boys in. And I think that's really, really good trust from the coaching staff to place that on our mids.
It is. This is the last. We've had a few games where we've kind of shown that maturity and that kind of where Collingwood are now. We're kind of growing into that, so it feels. But it's kind of, the Saints is just, nullify. Same with Essendon, North Melbourne, just like, the mature side is winning it. It feels like we're getting that kind of thing. Even with Hawthorn, like Hawthorn feel immature compared to us.
They do, yeah. I think our maturity's grown massively. The thing is, start of the year, I actually picked the Hawks to miss the 8, which most likely won't happen. But there's a clear drop-off from their best last year to what they're putting out week in, week out this year. And it's just maturity. It's very, very reminiscent to our 2022 and then 2023. Not necessarily a massive step back, that 2023, but it's just maturity. It's backing it up year upon year. It's very, very difficult. And we've now been in this sort of spot for a few years where we know how to win a game like this, and our maturity was just on display in flying colours. So yeah, I'd agree. I think we're becoming one of the more mature teams in the comp, if I'm being honest. We're still tier 1 is still Collingwood, Brisbane, Geelong, but if we're not already into tier 2, we're really sniffing it.
Yeah, I reckon I'd agree with you there. Like that kind of the way that the leaders kind of set up, like Jackson, you can tell that like he's he's a calm ball dude, and like same with Tracy's kind of not panicking. It feels like no one's panicking. Like the main dudes aren't panicking. They're just going about their business and they're getting the job done fantastically.
I'd agree. Another brilliant performance by leaders. Like, you compare it to Essendon MCG last year, Sarong and Brayshaw had absolute stinkers, particularly in the fourth quarter. Like, their leadership, I was really questioning if they even had captain material. Like, it was really, really concerning. The fact we had no one to step up and lead from the front and whatever. And I think today we've just completely, a year on, we've resurrected it and we've shown the development in this group. And Sarong, Brayshaw, Jackson, as you just mentioned, premiership player, that helps. Shea Bolton, premiership player. I think he played a pretty understated role. Yeah, like our leadership's growing.
Yeah, it's feeling like it's there for the taking, and over the next, with the youth of the team and everything, we've kind of given ourselves a shot for maybe 5-6 years. Should be the idea, I guess, is the way that it's built. So, like, I mean, Brayshaw's 26, so yeah, you're looking until Brayshaw's about 32, and then you're kind of having to think about everyone again. But that should be a good shot. That's way in the future. I'm getting way ahead of myself now. But
Brayshaw being 32 makes me really scared.
Yeah, exactly. But you get kind of like where I'm coming from. Brayshaw is now currently in the team. He's one of the most experienced dudes. I think he's like 160, 170 games or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's super durable. But those are the kind of guys that need to like show the leadership, get the job done. In fact, I don't know, Brayshaw, sometimes his clutch kicks are pretty rough. I feel like he needs to, if you want to be a captain dude, you got to like kick those goals, which Caleb does. So maybe Caleb's maybe the man.
Maybe that's how you split hairs. Thanks for joining again, mate. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
Always good having you on. Anything else before I let you go?
Well, no, let's just please don't like lose one of the next 3 or next 2. Just the next 2 are really bad. Like dropping the Port Adelaide one might be all right, but God, please don't lose to Eagles or Carlton. What an absolute travesty.
It's set up as well because they just lost by 50 points to Richmond at home. We've just beaten Collingwood away by a point. It's set up for the hallmarks of a dockery week ahead. So please, can we just put a number on West Coast next week and not mess about?
Even just win by 2 goals.
Exactly. No. I want to beat them by 10 goals. I don't care. Like 10 goals, 20 goals, whatever. I just put them to the sword.
Right. All right.
Thanks.
See you next week.
I'll see you next week. Cheers. Bolton's slipperier than Elon oil stack. I don't know what it is, but he's a very slippery man. Move over, Michael, because there's a new Vossi in town. I've got Bounce on there. Not a show I watch weekly, but the Freo highlights being in the background's a very nice watch. Voice sounding well. I'm going to assume that's sarcasm. Me and Zach are recording the podcast after the fan cams, so you'll get your pod out. You'll get your pod tomorrow morning, tomorrow arvo. We'll get it out straight away for your Monday listening. My voice will be in the dumps, but that's okay. Blasphemous, you ready, mate? He's ready.
Sure am, man.
Hey,
Up
mate.
the Dockers. I was swearing my bloody eyeballs out just before in front of my in-laws, so it's a good way to make a family statement. So I think that's justifiable.
Oh, very justifiable. What'd you see?
For me, it's more, again, as usual when I dial into these things, echoing most of the what everybody else is saying. I think the one thing that we've got to, I think it's a case of like not getting too carried away, as we've all said, that, one game at a time and all the cliches and that sort of stuff, because, the ladder obviously is so tight. And yes, we should be looking at the ladder as everybody is saying, and that we should be concentrating upon, the next week's game, because yes, we are facing the Eagles, and the Eagles, it's going to be their grand final versus Carlton, who thankfully have just won this weekend, because I'd actually be more nervous facing Carlton if they were continuing on a losing streak than they are right now. But I think what we really need to take a step back and reflect upon at the moment is how transformational this win is to this club, in particular at the moment, for like the next 2 to 3 years. Because we've had commentators on us back at the corners and the Kings and everybody else ridiculing us to say that we've got all the talent on the place. Yes, we're like third or fourth most inexperienced in terms of your age in the competition. But here we are, we've just scalped, the team is the premiership favourite, not just a premiership team favourite, but 2 wins ahead from the rest of the competition on their home soil in a situation where, we it's continuously throughout the season have been written off, and even when we had form, people have questioned us. So I think this is just one of those games where we have to use this as a chapter in our history for the past 3 years and the future 3 years, alongside the game where we lost against the States, to show, one, how the same group of people with the same positions and the same roles and responsibilities, how we can be absolutely deplorable, but we can also be that team that can win a premiership. And that is what is, to me, I'm most excited about coming out of this game. Forgetting about the stats, forgetting about Sarong was best on ground, forgetting about, there's a few, players that probably, were lacking in the 1%ers, which we can work upon. But all of the fundamentals, our structure, how strong we were in defence in the third quarter, and the fact that we are proven again this season compared to last season in the final quarter, when we're in the clinch sheeting scenarios in a very tight contest, we are able to pull through again, and we wouldn't have done that again last season. That's all, to me, it's just tick, 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 tick.
Absolutely. There are no brick walls safe right now. I think everyone's ran through after that. I think statistically as well, we are now the outright best team against other top 8 teams. So we're the best in the comp at actually winning against the good teams. We've just beat the best team away from home. There's just so much belief to take out of it, as you just said. I'm not sure where this ranks in terms of turning points this season. It'd probably be up there, but I still think the turning point for this season was the St Kilda loss, and what a turning point it was. That if we don't have that loss, we aren't where we are now. I'm so happy that happened. The worst night of my life, don't get me wrong. I needed therapy for the next 2 weeks, but God, that therapy was worth it, because we've come out. We lost to Collingwood the week after that, and we just went on that massive win streak, had an honourable loss to Sydney at the SCG, and now we've just been in Hawthorn and Collingwood in games based purely off ticker. And I think that is such a positive. I'm sort of echoing what you just said, but yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm kind of like a lot of people in this crowd tonight, whereas I get really frustrated listening to a lot of people that just turn into footy nerds and just recite statistics all the time rather than actually watching the contest for what it is. But there's only really one statistic I feel like tonight that we have to echo out, and it is looking at the number of inside 50s that went into that third quarter and how much actually Collingwood converted from that. And I think that is a massive pat onto the back for our defence, which really allowed us to build into the fourth quarter. Yes, we can be ridiculing about Oscar McDonald. Yes, we can be ridiculing about Warner. But it goes back to the cliche champion team versus a team of champions. And the whole defense lined up solid. I've been the biggest naysayer on this podcast or this channel about how much Brennan Cox grinds my gears. But tonight, he did his role, which is what he is. He is an intercept marker and an intercept marker only. I'd never seen him as a one-on-one defender like Alex Pearce or Oscar McDonald. But when you put in that situation as a team, as an intercept defender, he's impeccable. And it's the same with our half-back lines. And it's also the reason why I'm kind of going on a little bit of tangents here, that I was actually very, very relieved earlier in the week that we didn't, get all excited about let's bring Walker back in, because I feel, and this might upset a few people here, I feel like Carl Warner is more consistent as a player in our half-forward line, and the way they just hold down as his role within the team than the way Walker is. Yes, Walker brings the speed and run off the halfback, but we've kind of shown over the past half of the season, combined with the way we're now transitioning and taking more dare through the middle of the corridor, that we don't need to just rely upon flair and talent. Otherwise, I would be here also getting on my soapbox about how Frederick still, in my opinion, needs to be better at his pressure, but when he gets the ball in hand on the free out in the open, he's fantastic. These are all little 1%ers, but ultimately it's about the team performance and the way we hold ourselves and our composure over fourth quarters is what impressed me the most and what makes me excited about these next couple of rounds.
I think you put it perfectly. It's the role players. Like Corey Wagner, not the best player in the league, not even close. But there isn't another player I'd rather have playing the Corey Wagner role than Corey Wagner. Bailey Banfield, we were sort of had his name up on the board during the week. Saying is Brandon Walker the guy that needs to come back in for him? But Bailey Banfield's left foot today got us out of trouble so many times. He had a fair few intercept possessions, and Banners like last week was his only bad game in about 10 weeks in the back line. He's been so good down there, and people were calling for his head. I think Banners and Wags and even Carl Warner did not have an amazing game. Got tactically subbed out. But if I'm not mistaken, he led us in intercept possessions. He had 6 alongside Cox and Clark. He did his role to a reasonable standard, and it was just the team defense, it was the team midfield, and it was the team forward. Everybody just worked in tandem, and it was brilliant.
And that's exactly it. I think there's a difference between without picking players, because we all love to. It's easy to do that. I think before Mac Johnson sadly got injured out, and don't get me on my soapbox about how malicious the fans were after that, because I just can't stand that in any form of sport. If you look at the way Johnson played, yes, it's contested ball, but I'm really losing a lot of patience in terms of his disposal efficiency, in terms of his growth. The difference between why I pick on him versus a Banfield or a Warner is, yes, Banfield is not. I get on my soapbox with him time to time, but you look at Warner. What's Skull in the cricket jokes about with Nathan White and how he just bowls flat whites. Is you need that in the team. You need a Carl Warner that is just a flat white halfback. And he wasn't an A+ tonight. Yes, he wasn't a D, but I feel like it was just a solid B. He played his role, and you need players like that in your side for when you bring in your subs, like my favorite Hayden Young, or your Bruces, all those guys that actually have the dare and the flair, or the ways to create opportunities to stand out in your side and not allow holes in your defense or in your midfield, or to create silly turnovers against the side. So, yeah, the whole round, that defense was just brilliant, in my opinion, even if we have a bunch of flat whites in the back.
Yeah, I think you've nailed that, mate. Absolutely nailed it. Nothing wrong with the flat white. Not everything needs to have a flash or even an extra shot. Just, as long as he gets the job done, then I think that's more than acceptable, and that's what we got today from so many blokes. Anything else before I let you get on with your night?
Other than I just say, let's really soak this one in, and otherwise let's not get too caught up on we're now the best team of the competition, everything else. It is a case of, no, we're not. we're not. No team is best in the competition. In my it all depends on. We have proven we have seen, and the ladder shows, as much as we shouldn't be talking about the ladder, how tight this is. And we have just seen how a team that beat Collingwood last week, i.e. the Suns, can get absolutely reamed the following week. And that it all matters about the team that rocks up on the night. So let's, celebrate this, believe in ourselves, know we can do it with the best, know that we can get to a premiership if we want to. But at the same time, don't be a Carlton where you get so emotional week on, week out between games and writing off coaches and writing off players and graffitiing walls and wondering why you're in the bottom 4. Or we're verging on the bottom 4, because that is what separates the professionals from the amateurs.
Great call, Matt. Great call. Always love having you on, and enjoy your night up the Dockers.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Oh, well, the waiting room's now empty, so if anyone wants to hop in, feel free. Jordan Clark, otherwise I'll just wrap it up, get through a bit of chat, because my voice is shot in case you can't hear, and I do still need to record the podcast tonight. Jordan Clark for the Doig, really good call. Like, there's a definite chance that Geordie will sort of be in those top 3 areas. Will Raz get a run if Jono is out? Sort of coincides with who do you think's in next week? Well, fingers crossed, Alex Pearce is back, so he'd obviously come into OMAC. If not, there's so many ways you could go with Johnson. You could bring Walker in and play Wagner in more midfield time and move Banfield to the wing. You could bring in Erasmus, who's sort of the similar mold, midfield, wing, half forward. You can bring in Jeremy Sharp as an extra winger. Now we've got Hayden Young back in the team. I think those 3 are probably the most likely, Erasmus, Sharp, or Walker. And then also Isaiah Dudley, you could also put in that conversation. Had a really good game for Peel on the weekend. So I think Dudley might be rewarded for that form, but we'll see how we go. Your passing banners, Colin. Well, I love him. Banners is a long pass man in the team. Buffoon, his adaptability is indispensable now. Yep, absolutely. You put that really well. I've always been a part of the Bailey Banfield fan club. And I know a lot of people have stuck with Banners, even when a lot of people haven't. And I'm really happy he's getting some reward by playing some good footy. We were speaking last week whether Walker should come back in, and he's put that behind him. Because it's Collingwood, we will finally get some time on the footy shows. Can't ignore the purple this week. Exactly right. Freddie was all lost to see. I think Freddie had a good first half. He sometimes does fade out, I'd agree. But I don't really feel like it was a game where I thought, geez, Freddie could have done more today. Just quickly, we've got 60 in here. I'm recording the podcast after this. We are introducing a new segment called the Heave Hotline. Do you get it? Heave Hotline. I've just chucked a link in the chat. Click on that link and you'll be able to record a voice message and we will play it on the podcast. So, yeah, if you want to have your say, if you want to feature on the podcast, I'll go through it. I'll pick the best ones to play. It can be whatever vibe you're thinking. It can be a genuine question. It can just be yelling into the microphone because you're that excited. It can be whatever. So click the link if you want to get on the podcast. I'm recording the pod in an hour and a half. So get your voice message in by then if you do want to feature on there. What happened to Jono's ankle? Did he roll or twist it? What's the difference? I mean, rolls, twist. Yeah, I get the difference. I'm not sure. Sorry, my camera's just died. I'm not sure with sorry, is my camera back on yet? It's not. Sorry. Let me sort this out. Is the camera just done and dusted, is it? That's unbelievable. My camera actually is just gone. Wow. Thanks a lot to StreamYard for this brilliant service. Well, you've got no camera for the rest of the fan cams, but I won't be long. What happened to Jono's ankle? Did he roll or twist it? Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe he broke it. It didn't look good, I'll be honest. It looked terrible. He definitely didn't break it. The footy shows have their seedings and all. Yeah, not one has had Freo in their seedings. We've won 9 of the last 10 or something. They have to put us in the seeds this week. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we will be. We will be. And I don't even care about their opinion anymore because I think the opinion that I value the most on Freo is this sort of channel and the fans within it, because we've got lots of different opinions that come through here, whether it's the chats or the fan cams or across the socials, but it's from the fans who watch this club, who consume this club, and who aren't just riding the highs of a Collingwood win. We rode the lows of the Saints loss. We rode the lows of the Melbourne loss. We've ridden a lot of lows. We've ridden a lot of lows over the past 31 years. But I'll listen to the opinions of those who rode those lows, and I'll listen to those same ones who have also ridden the high today, and however many highs we get to ride this year and in the coming years. So, yeah, that's sort of my take on the coverage we get. Heave ho, love your work, guys. Thanks, mate. I will wrap it up there. Pod, I'm recording in an hour, so you can enjoy the podcast in your Spotify and YouTube feeds tomorrow morning with Zach. As I just mentioned, click the link in the chat to get your voice message in if you want to get on the pod. Thank you to everyone who's joined. We had about 60 in the watch party. We've had up to 70 or 80 people in the fan camps. It's been great chatting to you all in what's been one of our most famous wins ever. We've gone and beaten the best team in the competition at the MCG by a point, a comeback victory yet again against the Comeback Kings. Unbelievable victory. This is why you support this club. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.